Hello everyone and welcome to the final moments in qualifying for the Mexican Grand Prix in LSI, round 10 of 14. Q1 is almost over. We've got Sulkin on their final lap of the session, run out of battery, going a little bit earlier. They've still got a minute on the clock to go, but here we go. Final corner is coming up. Where are they going to be? Are they improving across the line? And it's going to be a 14.522, almost a 10th improvement. Charlie sat in P2 right now. We've got the other Williams of Zingy, who darts up to P2 themselves. A 0.636, could not beat the Norwegian, but got themselves into a very good position. I believe Nifo has just started their final lap. Eagle crosses the line, and that is going to be a lap that they start as well. It's Verf up next, who decides, they were going to go to the pit lane, realised they couldn't do that, and that is going to be it for the Hungarian. P4 14.727, not a bad lap at all, but not the improvement in the final moments they were looking for. Elwain in the stadium section, what can they do at the moment? Right at the back of the field for now, but they're not too far away. Can they jump Jericho Willett in the final moment? They can. A 15.175, not too far away from Nifo's lap time either. In the final few corners, the final sector, here goes the Williams. Charlie to P2 to beat their teammate and get so close to Sulkin. Jericho Willis to P5, a 14.744. Once again, so close to Verf, but Frantic does get beaten. Frantic is in the pit lane. That's their lap done. Sulkin is finished with their session, of course. It's going to be Nifo in P8, who invalidates, is not able to get their final lap in. Eager Pro has invalidated as well. They're a ghost car for a moment. They will not improve either. Zingy, of course, we already know, has set their lap time. And that is qualifying complete. It's Sulkin on pole position, Charlie in P2 and Zingy in P3. The top three continue. So Williams top three, followed by, I think, the championship challenger in P1, as they're no longer leading the title race. But last time in Brazil, it was a chaotic one. Mexico will never fail to disappoint. Sulkin on pole position by the tiniest of margins. Charlie in P2 and Zingy in P3. The race director is on your screen, and we will be back in a bit for the race. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? A long way to the first corner. And off the line, Sulkin gets away, but it's going to be Charlie storming into the lead. Right off the line, Zingy can't do anything about it. Is it 3 wide directly behind? They move to the right-hand side. Verf has to react. It's almost the sandwich moment between Igor and Jericho Willis, and then Verf. Oh, frantic, all bit squirmy on the exit. That's going to allow Nifo through. A brilliant job indeed. But the top few are all in a single file line. Elwain to the inside line, forcing Frantic to have a look to the right hand side. Nifo goes off the circuit to try and put a challenge onto Verve. A switchback is available as Verve doesn't get back to the racing line soon enough. Here we go though, around the outside. They're gonna get the job done. That's a brilliant move from Nifo. Very decisive early on into this race. Let's have a look at the data, the tyres, everybody on the medium. Set from Elwain going for that slightly different tyre. That's going to be Verf getting overtaken by Frantic. What is going on with Verf at the moment? Lots of cars finding the track limits already as well, I should say. So welcome to Mexico. It's going to be part of the story today. Lap 2 out of 36 begins. Charlie is leading. Sulkin now has a great opportunity to make that P1, but it's very early on. Why would they bother risking it at this stage? These two were so close together in qualifying, it's nothing in it really. So this should be one hell of a race. And we just don't know how it's going to go race pace wise. Tyre wear we know is going to be absolutely brutal. So it really depends on who can manage their tyres the best. And considering the F1 game physics, usually, if you're in a train, this does not make sense by the way, if you're in a train, your tyres wear less. So right now, Sulkin has an advantage by being P2. Track position, of course, is always nice. You can have a clear road in front. You're probably less likely to extend track limits. But if you're directly behind, you can save those tyres and maybe go a little bit longer. So we might see Charlie try and trade position here or there, but they don't want to give the position up to their teammate. If they do that, then they'll get less priority realistically over the pit stops. If they're in front of their teammate, they can pit whenever they want. If they're behind their teammate, they have to pit accordingly. So if they want to pit on a certain lap, but their teammate decides to pit on that lap, then they have to wait another lap and then they ruin their strategy. It has to work out. Lots of fastest laps all in the train. Verf gets the last laugh. Currently P8 in the battle, and there it is. Sulkin goes to P, well, they look to P1. More of a defensive throw really. Zingy tries to line up a move here, go to a very different line. Bang! ERS goes. Are they going to be able to challenge for it? They're going to definitely give it a good shot. They fake to the left-hand side. It's going to be late on the brakes. Going into the back of their teammate almost. It looked like Charlie had to just roll off. It's going to be side by side as they go through the double right-hander. Is that going to go down very well? It just about is okay. They're still going to try and keep their nose in. It's not very useful. And there it is. It is settled. Sulkin stays P2. Turning off the battery, using the battery once more. Zingy wants to challenge again, and they're going to go to the left-hand side into the braking zone. They're really going to try and hold it around the outside. They go off the circuit, and Sulkin is going to take that one back. It's side by side for the moment, but there it is. Sulkin back in front, and everybody bunches up massively. It's Nifo who dives down the inside to spot the opportunity out of all of the chaos. Frantic's going to try and come through as well. Everybody is mixing up, and Charlie is now 1.2 seconds ahead. Here comes Zingy. The left-hand side is their choice. Nifo's going to try and go for it as well. In the meantime, there is the Scotsman ahead, but they go completely deep into the corner. The Mercedes comes back through. Absolutely incredible stuff. I don't know what's going on. And then we see Nifo sat P3 in this mini train here. Can they make a move? Zingy once again looking to try and take it the long way round. They find themselves on the inside. Nifo goes to try and make it 3 wide, but they think better of it. And there is Sulkin now being ahead. But they continue to make it side by side. And Charlie is now 2.0 seconds away. Just being gifted this one at the moment. Their pace is definitely one of the quickest on the grid today. but it can't be that much. It's just the battling that's going on that isn't helping anybody. We've got Jericho Willis trying to see what's going on, if they can make some progress and make one of the battle that is happening in front, then yeah, you might as well try something. It's lap 4 onto lap 5 out of 36 already, and we're still seeing this side-by-side action go about. Nifo, though, wants to have a look at Zingy. They're pushing the battery, forcing Zingy to go on the attack for Sulkin. Sulkin looks at getting a double overtake done on them. Not done themselves. Sulkin brakes late, releases the brakes. They're going to try and push Zingy. It's going to be very, very push and shove. It looks like DRS once more. Zingy tucks in. So does Nifo. Nifo to the outside. They back off. They know it's going to go side by side into the following corner, and there's nothing that they're going to be able to do other than watch. And these guys continue. There's the contact. And now Zingy is taking the racing line, although they are a ghost car. That is going to be a bit controversial, I'm sure. And there it is. It's done, although it's definitely not dusted. Zingy now into P2. How they got there, we're just going to have to look at that one later. It's Igor watching this battle behind as well, because Nifo is the one with the front row seats. Oh, when they almost looked to the inside, it looked like. I don't know if it was more of a defensive throw or just a breaking point spot, but it was very close. 3.2 seconds Charlie leads this field right now. Absolutely insane. Unfortunately, Verf has had to make a pit stop, so I don't entirely know what's going on with the Sauber car, but they don't seem to be having the smoothest start to this race. Nifo looks to the left, looks to the right. They do eventually sort themselves out, but that was Sulkin moving all the way over the braking zone. They're going to find themselves in a bit of trouble, but over the curb goes Nifo, and their run at making an overtake, making a switchback attempt, is going to be completely diminished. And I don't think Nifo's going to be happy with what just happened in front, but it happened. They've got to try and rebuild once more and get another opportunity to open up later on in this lap, starting and going on into the next lap. Battery turned off for all of these guys in this S section as they try and save, ready to blast it down the straight. But by doing this, they're just giving it away to Charlie even more. 3.6 seconds. And the pole is running away with this one, as they did in Singapore. We're seeing it happen again. This is going to be potentially a third win here for Charlie. I think they've competed for a victory around here before as well, but didn't quite get it. Zingy rounds the final corner. And DRS is going to be free and open for Sulkin, but Nifo is right behind, pushing Sulkin along. The Mercedes just being forced into doing something. They have to push on the battery themselves, otherwise they'll get re-overtaken. But no, Sulkin is not able to catch to the Scotsman. Are we going to see Nifo look at a switchback and a good run again? They just don't quite have it this time. Here we go. Sulkin might actually have a look into turn 4-5. They do back off just in time, and they will be okay. And just in time is not a real person. I'm just making a statement. This is going to hurt. I guess you could call it that. That's one way to describe it for sure. Charlie now 4 seconds in front of the field. Absolutely loving life. The train continues at the moment. Elwain holding on to the back of this battle, and their tyres are only getting better, so that's a brilliant situation for them to be in. Although the chaos is going to be difficult to deal with. A whole nother ball game. Both on that fresh tyre, and considering that they are on that extra pit stop, all of this battling has actually helped them out. There's going to be Elwain going for the move on the inside of Frantic, taking a very deep line. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there. They've then tried to move out the way, and now Frantic and Elwain have gone all the way down, and out of DRS by a decent margin. I'm really quite confused what was just attempted. I think they wanted to go for the move. They pulled it way far to the right-hand side. They're a bit tentative. And in the end, they tried to back out, but it was too late. Frantic turned in, and contact was made. We can't even see Charlie in the shot of this camera. Just about there. 4.7 seconds, the gap continues. Absolutely miles in front right now, and they're only taking it further. Owain is doing a good job. Obviously, we have to consider the battling that did just happen. If you think of that 5-second deficit that we've got to Charlie, I think Charlie definitely is capable of doing such a thing, but I think it was assisted by this battling that continues. Sulkin goes to the outside line. Zingy tries to stick his nose in. He's not got DRS, so he's going to have to be more aware of Nifo coming at him. Sulkin now is ahead with that DRS. But the battery just has to be turned off, and they continue. Locking up the rears into the stadium section. It just shows you the tyre wear is pretty tricky right now. Everybody is going to be twitchy. There it is. There it is. Sulking into the pit lane, going for a severe undercut on everybody else. DRS still available for Zingy. Will Nifo try and go for the move as well? They're using the battery, definitely pushing. Forcing Zingy to also push. They don't want Zingy to turn the battery off at the last second and relax, because they want to make this overcut work if they can. I will say this was about a lap too early compared to what I expected, but Sulkin's done it now. They're in the pit lane. They're going to be racing with Frantic, it looks like, who I think is going to get a bit of an undercut here on the Mercedes driver. They might be able to grab on to DRS of the Mercedes. If they can, that would be very beneficial for their race. Although they're just out of that range, it might be a bit tricky. Charlie's surely thinking about going into the pit lane within a couple of laps' time. They don't need to worry so much about pitting on the following lap here, because they've got such a gap. I think they might pit in 2 laps' time, whereas these guys, I think we're expecting to see them in right now in reaction to Sulkin. Otherwise, they could be a big disadvantage, unless they go much later into the race to get that benefit of a better tyre. Charlie stays out. No one else comes in. Absolutely incredible. Elwain's not going to come in because they're on the hard tyre, and Verf, of course, was already in the pit lane from before. They're in a very different race to everybody else. I don't know how it's going to work tyre wear for them wise, but it's going to be an interesting one if they can take it to the end of the race. Igor, looking racy, wants to have a go at making a move on Nifo. Nifo doesn't seem keen to make an overtake on Zingy at the moment. Happy with holding on to their slipstream right now. They don't want to battle and slow everybody down, but they also want to make sure that they stay in front of the Aston Martin. By the way, Igor just goes very well around this circuit for some reason. Right now, we haven't seen them right at the front of the field, but they have had a few wins here in the past, and definitely showed some good performance with their new direct drive wheel that they've got used to over the last couple of months. They fought for victory in Brazil, which is also another good circuit for them, and with the situation in the final few laps, is likely to take that victory based on penalties. No one pits once more. Absolutely incredible. I think we're right in saying in the chat 3 laps or 2 laps to react to the pit strategy. But no one's doing anything. Nifo stays behind in the slipstream, pushing Zingy through the corner effectively. Sulkin goes and gets the fastest lap as Frantic extends track limits and gets a 3-second time penalty. At this point they're doing a one-stop. I think they are very much doing a one-stop. I don't see this going another way. Lap 12, it wouldn't make sense. Verf potentially maybe doing the 2-stop, as they are catching this battle a bit. I would be surprised if Sulkin is trying to do the 2-stop, but maybe they will. 23 seconds is the pit loss. That's going to be a big hit and a lot of time to make. That's our second time penalty as Jericho Willis now extends track limits. As we're getting closer to the pit window, the tyres are less grippy. It's easier to slide off the circuit. That's what you're seeing right now. Dirty air is not going to help that at all when you're going through the high-speed corners as well. We go around the final corner to see if anybody dives into the pit lane, and almost everybody does, except from Elwayne Zingy, just about making it into the pit lane on the brakes. And there we go. Charlie also into the pit lane. Zingy is going to be held here, but how much by? It's a bit of a delay on entry, and then they're back right to it. That's a pretty good stop. They're going to drop behind 2 cars. They're just going to lose out to Igor and Nifo. I think all things considered, they've actually not lost that much. They should be pretty happy with that situation. They are under threat from Jericho Willis, but it is just about okay. Yep, they will have definitely been a bit frustrated with that situation, hoping that they would have been able to gain or not lose the extra position, but they didn't pit a lap before. They pitted on the lap that they wanted, and you just have to do whatever your teammate is doing, of course. And as I said, the 2 Williams drivers can't afford to be overtaken by each other, but they were. Frantic, P5, Sulkin, P3, P4 for Charlie, who comes out 2.5 seconds behind Sulkin right now. And they are in a very good position, looking to go to the end. I just want to say I do apologise. I'm surprised that I said a minute ago, I'm surprised that Sulkin would do a 2-stop. Well, they're on the medium, so they're definitely doing a 2-stop. We'll just see what they're doing with their tyres later on into the race and if it's going to work out. Nifo leads the train at the back of the field now. Berth in P2 by 1.4 seconds as Sulkin tries to make progress. These guys are going to probably lose some time battling, which is only more beneficial to Charlie, who's had it pretty nice in the race so far, especially in the opening stages. Elwayne driving their own race right now on that hard tyre from the start. 5.1 seconds in the lead of the Grand Prix. A safety car would be nice for them now, wouldn't it? I don't think it would be that beneficial because we wouldn't see other cars pit, and they would have just got a bit of an undercut as well. So they would maybe gain 1 or 2 positions, but they wouldn't be in the race lead. Still, leading the Grand Prix is not bad at all to say for a few laps. Sulkin, did they get that DRS? What's the rear wing doing? And it is just about not open. It just missed it in the end. Charlie 1.9 seconds catching as well. Frantic on their own in P5. Nifo gets a 3-second time penalty. The third driver to do so in the middle part of the race. More expected time to get that penalty. Igor, very racy, looking like they want to go for something, but they just can't do it. Interestingly, Zingy having a bit of a hard time on this hard tyre. You'd expect they would have been right on the back of the Aston Martin, raring to get that move once again redone. And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, but they've had a bit of a drop-off. And that gap was about 7/10 just a second ago. Jericho Willis was sat behind them watching. And although Jericho in the McLaren is sat at the back of the pack right now, they're very much in this race, as everybody is. Elwain runs the final corner to begin lap 16. Egapro is the 4th driver to get a 3-second time penalty. Everybody is guilty. Verf leads the way. This time Sulkin just about gets DRS. And now they try and make their progress. And I say progress, it's going to be an interesting one, because both of these guys are going to get to a stage where their tyres start to drop off. So the battle is going to be confusing. It's going to be slow. It's going to be incredibly good for Charlie, as long as Charlie can keep their front wing clean. They still want to make those moves though, because yes, they've got a 6-second advantage, but as well, they've got a 6-second advantage. They don't want to lose that. If they get a time penalty, that is 2 time penalties worth of safety. They need to try and make that progress as soon as possible. It's not going to be an easy task. They're going to be fought, and there is the first 3 seconds. So now a 3-second advantage, 4-second advantage really, on Frantic, but they've still got to make the overtake. They've got to make a double overtake. A triple overtake, as Verv gets a time penalty. Everybody flying through the time penalties at the moment. It's almost like we just don't have any. If we get Zingy, Sulkin and Elwain on penalties, then nobody's got any time penalties. We're all just back at 0. Frantic back into the pit lane. Do they go for a set of hards to the end of the Grand Prix, going for a big undercut on their second stop? Sulkin, are we expecting Sulkin to go into the pit lane here? I'm not entirely sure. You can see the Williams sat right behind. Elwain has been caught. That's what's allowing Sulkin to catch back up. But Sulkin did lose that DRS down the main straight. So they're not exactly flying with this tyre right now. Absolutely brutal stuff. 3 drivers remain with no time penalties. Everybody else has one. Charlie looks to the inside for a brief moment. It's now Elwain who has the control of this race. Do they pit? They don't. They stay out. Here comes the DRS! Oh! And how close did that get? All the way to the pit line. Charlie wanted to have a go, but Sulkin was willing to defend it already. Verf leads the way. Are they going to go for the double overtake here? Are they going for it on Elwain? They do so. Charlie comes through. It's 3 wide. It's 3 wide. Sulkin late on the brakes, and there goes Charlie. Once again, the position is theirs. P2 done. DRS is available, and they will secure that. Follow Verf, and now they try and hunt down for that P1 spot. On the one-stop strategy, a very straightforward situation for them. 3-second time penalties only to worry about, and a massive tyre advantage to the rest of the cars that are directly around them. This is just going to be a patient waiting game. Don't make any silly mistakes, as they just did. They were patiently waiting for the cars around them to make mistakes, and they were able to execute the overtake in a very nice fashion. That being said, making it 3 wide with such an advantage was not exactly something I was expecting to see. They did want to get that move done. DRS available once more, and Charlie will very, very, very quickly lead this Grand Prix as Sulkin goes in for their second stop, and they will be on the hard tyre for the rest of the race. There it is. Charlie is in P1 in this battle. Are we going to get any more overtakes? Igor leads this train now. Zingy's made that move. Nifo is the one who switched out of all of this as they drop down 2 positions. Jericho Willis just watches on once more. Sulkin frantic, looking for their strategy. Verth is going on for a medium, hard medium, it looks like. I don't expect to see them to go to the end of the race on this tyre. It would be impossible. Although we have seen Verth attempt a few things in the past with tyres. They are Mr. Creative, I'd say, when it comes to strategy. But I don't know if their creativity will save them from a puncture today. So it's going to be an extra stop. And to the end on the medium tyres, they'll definitely look at securing the fastest lap of the race. Just where will they end up at the end of all of it? I don't know. The benefit to them is that they did avoid all of the battling, etc. at the beginning. Zingy to the inside line, and it's still going to be side by side. They continue. Igor's not giving it up. They've got the DRS to Zingy though. They'll come back through. They've got the battery. They've got the exit, and the move is done. As Elwain is the next car in front of these guys, who still hasn't pitted. Just waiting for a few to catch. I mean, if I was Elwain, I would hope that I could make the pit stops before this car train caught up. But I think it's a bit too late. If they stay out, then this is going to be an absolute slaughter. DRS, ERS on Elwain with no tyre advantage. There goes one. And here goes two. Nifo's just going to miss out on it. Elwain seems to be giving the position up. Now Nifo catches up to the field. They'll have the DRS and the grip at the final, well, at the previous corner. They have to make that move, does Nifo. They have to make that move. They didn't get close enough, really. It's a big send on the brakes. They do get it done just about, and they know that they can back it up on the circuit. Here goes Jericho Willis, who really tries to send it as well. They know what's at stake, but it's just not worked out so nicely. And Elwain will back out. But now Jericho Willis has got 0.3 of a second to catch up. Their day has just been made even more complicated than it already has been. Just watching the chess game in front of them. And now they've got a matter of corners to try and get that DRS back. And unfortunately, although the cars look a lot closer, it's because we're in the stadium section where all the cars just slow down. And that was a brilliant attempt at getting DRS back, but it might be a little bit too late. And is the DRS strong enough to prevent Jericho from coming back into this race, or will they find their way through in the middle part of the next lap? It's Igor who moves in front of the Scotsman. P1 Charlie 5.8 seconds, then it's Igor. So they have made some progress on the pole in the top spot at the moment, but it's still going to be a tall order. Sulkin 10.9 seconds away from the flurry of cars. That's 7/10 that Jericho lost on that straight. Absolutely brutal. The first sector is just killer for the McLaren's race. The middle sector is where it's going to be at, but I think as being said in the chat, these guys need to work together now at this stage in order to help each other out. And I think Jericho Willis is going to have a very hard time doing anything about it. That being said, working together would have probably been a lot more beneficial at the start of the race, where Charlie extending the gap would have been much less prominent. DRS available. And Zingy will go for that move into the first corner. Nope, they don't. They back off. Half a battery. Not willing to push any more than half a battery. Otherwise they would possibly get re-overtaken and battled hard. So it just wasn't efficient to take that position there. Elwain, who continues on this tyre. They're really trying to take it as long as they possibly can. Surely it's time for the pit lane. Look at those tyres. Absolutely gone. No grip into the final corner. They're still pushing them. Are they going for a puncture here? Are they doing a test for tomorrow? It's impressive. Vulcan right behind. Five lap-old hard tyres along with Verth as they look to make some progress in this final stage. So just frantic. That's a good point to make. Looking at the time penalty situation, currently Zingy, Elwain, Sulkin all have an advantage. But they've still got to keep it clean to the end of the Grand Prix. That's easier said than done, especially as the tyres continue to degrade. There you go. There's a flick of the, well, entire car from the Williams. And that's what can just throw you out of track limits and get you that silly time penalty around a circuit like this. So although beneficial now, is it going to be to the flag? That's the question. Oh, and Nifo almost finds the back of the Scotsman, drifts out at the final corner, will get a DRS once more. They've lost a lot of momentum, 9/10 of a second, having to use everything that's left in the battery. They will gain once more in that middle sector, as we saw from Jericho Willis. As long as you keep it clean, the middle sector is nothing to worry about. You will gain 2/10 back when there's a train in front. But it's just about later on, if you can keep up in a straight line. That's the problem. With the train that's breaking a hole in the air for one another, it's like an unstoppable force. But in the middle sector, it's more of a stoppable force. And quite literally, they're slowing each other down almost to a stop. Does not look easy out there on track. With the dirty air not helping at all. The track grip is low. It's slippy. It feels like it's icy. Although it is completely dry. And these guys continue in their trio. This time, surely Zingy looks for a move. They continue to stay behind. They're not risking anything at the moment. I feel like Charlie might be just managing their race at the moment. 50% battery. It doesn't mean they're slowing down. It doesn't mean they're speeding up and pushing to the limit either. It means that they're just locked in, flow state, doing their thing. And that's exactly what you want. I think if you're not pushing when you're leading comfortably, you can possibly make a few mistakes that you don't expect. If you go slower than usual, the car will act differently, and that's when the problems occur. You don't expect certain things, you don't expect the car to react in a certain way, you make a mistake, you crash, you lose the win. So by Charlie keeping that battery on 50%, it suggests that they're at a decent pace. and just making sure that they stay focused, keeping them self-aware in this race so they can take 20 points home to the championship. And they are very much in a chance, even though we're in the final stages of this season, to do something about the title if they really wanted to make it happen. It's just a shame that they retired from, I don't know if it was last race or the race before. There's another 3-second time penalty. It's from Frantic there, first 6 second of the evening. Elwain did go into the pit lane recently, 6 seconds behind Frantic themselves. Verf 1.6 seconds away from Sulkin, as Sulkin is now 4 seconds away from Jericho Willis. And their kind of double tyre life right now could be a problem. But is it really going to be that beneficial? Verf with a time penalty is going to be quick as well. They've got an extra 2 laps on Sulkin. But they of course have that time penalty, so they kind of have less of an effect. Right now, Sulkin with no time penalty is 7 tenths away from Jericho Willis. Jericho Willis unfortunately 4.5 seconds away from this battle after losing that DRS earlier on, but that's just how it goes when you're racing around a circuit like this. We go back to Nippo. Looking at the train, will we see Zingy go for a move? Well, they're 9 tenths away. The good news is that they've got enough battery, well, they should have enough battery to bring that gap back down. That prevents Nippo from making any kind of overtakes. But the bad news is that they've got to use all that battery to bring that gap back down. Six laps is around 24% of tyre wear, goes Mars. So going to be a decent advantage that Sulkin has, especially when these guys reach the 60% territory of tyre wear. That's when it becomes really critical, at least from previous experience. Your tyres hit that cliff. Verf doesn't really have to manage their tyres at all to the end of the Grand Prix. It's just qualifying laps for them to the end. And they have made progress here on Sulkin. Sulkin currently within time penalty range of Jericho Willis. Still got a long way to go to catch anybody else further in front. In the meantime, this battle up in front has caught up to Charlie, the race leader, by about 8 tenths over a few laps. Although I'm now thinking Charlie was keeping themselves honest, and they maybe still are, but at the same time not taking any crazy risks. They've got a time penalty already. They don't need to do any more. They also can't afford to drop back so far that Zingy is within their time penalty range. That would be a disaster. All of a sudden, we've got a bit of a train going on. Jericho Willis leads the pack here. Sulkin, will they try and dispatch it from McLaren as soon as possible? Well, they used a bit of battery, but they've not really got any to deploy. They catch up nicely by the time we get to the chicane. We'll leave the next corner. Jericho turns the battery back on, and that looks like a pretty icy hard tyre, but the straight line speed is there. There's no battery for Jericho. There's no point in fighting it. They make that move. And now, Verf's got to do the same thing here. And this is for position on track. Verf versus Jericho Willis on that 30 out of 36. into the stadium section. Gaining a lot of time as the McLaren goes super deep. It just doesn't look grippy out there for anybody. It's just whether it's worse or not. That's the question. The front end and rear end being lost by the McLaren. DRS being available and the virtual full safety cars deployed. What on earth just happened there? We overtake the safety car, so we go another lap. Who's got the damage though? I don't know. Is it Frantic? Well, they're diving into the pit lane. Elwain, who's lost it out there on track. There's no front wing, and that is a strange one. To bring out a full safety car. A full safety car for a front wing lost. Welcome to the F1 game. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. And now, we know what we do get is Zingy being catapulted into a very good chance at winning this race. With no time penalty, everybody's going to be on equal tyres. Pretty impressive. Now, of course, Frantic does have that 6-second time penalty, which is going to be a problem. Elwain, although he's on the soft tyre right now, is going to benefit massively from losing their front wing, being in P9. They're now going to jump back into the fight. I don't know what to say, it's going to be absolutely insane. Zingy is looking at once again losing a position here due to the pit stops. So we'll see where they come out relative to Niffo. Do they drop behind the Racing Bull? They do. Not. That looked like it was Niffo's position. I think Niffo is going to be absolutely raging right now that they weren't able to make that move. Soft tyre for Igor. Soft tyre for Sulkin, Jericho and Elwain. A medium tyre for Frantic, who can pit again for free, no questions asked, no problem, if they want to. Verf stays out to lead the Grand Prix. Charlie on the hard tyre as well. No confidence in the soft tyre at all. Everybody else on the soft tyre are fully expecting this race to end much sooner rather than later. Unless either the tyres die out so fast that it's not worth it, or I'm maybe thinking that these guys used their tyres in qualifying and that's why they don't have the extra set, but then they should at least have one set, so why aren't they using them at all? They've favoured the hard tyre in a couple of laps over the soft tyre. And Verf has favoured just staying out. What Verf is looking for is to try and stay in front of everybody with a time penalty in a space of just a couple of laps. That's what they're looking for. We're lap 33 right now. And we'll be possibly going racing on lap 34. If not, it will be lap 35 for the 2-lap sprint, and we'll get basically half a lap of DRS. We'll get 1.5 laps of DRS if we go racing on lap 34. I think we're just going to miss out, unfortunately. They're a bit too far away. So, yep, a 2-lap sprint. Lasting 4 laps for the softs. So with that safety car, it's going to be about 3 laps that they last. Soft compound is going to be impressive. All I have to say is my heart is in my mouth. I'm very nervous for this one. We might actually go racing here. We might actually get to racing once more. Never mind. I'm being a little bit too optimistic there with the safety car. Right. Now we wait for the final lap under safety car. We'll have a look at the time penalties. We've got your race leader Verth on a 3-second time penalty, followed by Charlie, Igor, Nifo, and Jericho Willis. 6 seconds for Frantic, everybody else completely free of charge. That is Zingy, Sulkin, and Elwyn. Zingy in a very good position. Sulkin does have to try and get an overtake on Nifo. Elwyn, I'm not blaming them at all because it's just part of the game, but they did lose their front wing, which caused the safety car to be deployed, and they're currently staring at a potential podium if everything goes right. It would still have to go right. Not necessarily really right, but right. But yeah. Elwyn in a very good position. Verth's going to be the one to react. We've still got a few more corners until we get that confirmation, but it will happen because we need 2 laps of racing. 1.5 laps, or actually no, half a lap of DRS we will get. So let's see how it goes down in Mexico City. Who is going to make it to the line first? Who's going to play it to perfection? We just don't know until it happens. There's Verth. There's Zingy. Sorry, Charlie. And Igor sat right behind. The heart races. The pedal shakes. The safety car rounds the final corner. And the race is on. So bunched up, and they keep them all moving so slowly. They dart it now once again, but Charlie reacts super well. They tuck in the slipstream, duck down a little bit to help them out, and they go to the right hand side to race to the first corner and try and take back P1 from earlier, and they do immediately. Perfection. Igor round the outside on the soft tyre. There's contact between the two. Zingy drops down. Sulkin goes through. Igor, what happened there? They just did not get the tyre switched on. Zingy tries to come back through as well. That's not going to work, surely. The long way around the outside of the McLaren is the route that they're trying to take. But here comes Elwyn on the soft tyre. Absolutely incredible. Can they hold it though? Oh no, they're definitely not going to hold it. That's going to be a very easy send, but it's still side by side. It's almost 3 wide. I don't believe it. Oh, there goes Frantic off the circuit, and they're just going to keep it together in a straight line for now. Igor is at the back of this train. They can do something about it. Zingy needs to find a way through Jericho Willis to have a go at winning this race. But currently, Charlie is 1 second ahead of Verth. And actually, I think they're going to win this race anyway. They're currently 3.1 seconds away from the next car that doesn't have a time penalty. Charlie is looking to secure this one as they deserved it before. Absolutely perfection. Verth, no DRS. They don't need to worry about it for now, but when we get into that final sector, that's when it's going to get tricky and everyone's going to use their battery. Well, you know what? Nifo's going to use it now. They move to the left. They go for the dive and they're going to get there on the brakes, but they've got to go around the outside once more. The double right-hander will be there for Verth, and here comes Sulkin cutting across. Perfect stuff for Nifo. They do go over track limits, but they've just about kept it together. Sulkin trying to get it on the grip. They're going to try and find their way through. That's never going to work. That is never going to work. DRS will be available. I don't think it will matter from that distance back. It will be impossible. What a race. we have had. I don't know where to look. I don't think it's going to matter. Nifo goes defensive, really goes nice and slow to make sure that they hold everything off. Charlie wins in style with the fastest lap at the final moment. It's Nifo crosses the line, but it's going to be Sulkin to P2, Zingy in P3. And that was Mexico City. Absolutely mental, as it always is. The entertainment was non-stop. Charlie wins by 2.1 seconds in the end. Sulkin in P2. Then we've got Zingy, Elway, Nifo, Jericho Willis, Eager Pro, Verf, and Frantic. We go through the race director just in case. All those track limits are pretty technical. And of course the pit stop section. We'll get those session results, but just looking at the time penalties, Nifo led there on the end, just apart from Charlie, who took that victory. And then you've got all the non-time penalty runners, that's Sulkin, Zingy and Elwain, getting a big benefit from that final safety car. We'll be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Mexican Grand Prix. That was one hell of a race that we just had. We start with Sulkin. Sulkin, the pace was looking good. After the first battles, it kind of split up. The safety car, were you hopeful that you're going to be able to do something without that time penalty that you didn't have?
Yeah, the safety car restart was pretty good because I had softer tires to everybody else and I had high temperature in them also, so I was easy. I was much faster at the restart than, for example, Nifo and the other guys. So into turn one, I managed to get some overtakes. Yeah, I think if it weren't for, let's say, Nifo, I would maybe have gotten the win. But it's difficult to say since Charlie was way off after like one lap or a half lap. So yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. How are the tyres out there? Do you think you did the right thing strategy-wise?
No, not at all. But when I was battling with Singy, I thought I was losing so much pace compared to like Charlie. So I was like, I don't care. I don't want to do this. Like, so I just pitted, tried to not get any penalties after the race or anything, just to stay out of trouble. And yeah, try to catch up as much as I can. And I knew I needed to be catching like 1 second per lap, but yeah, the tires die off really fast when you're pushing. So I really had to difference like between pushing flat out and then like saving ERS and stuff for the straights. So it was really hard, but yeah, the safety car saved me, but still, I think it's quite boring when every race comes down to a safety car just because something happens, you know. So if it's possible, I think it should be like the last 3 laps or last 5 laps or whatever you say. It's not possible to get any safety cars out because it's destroying the race for the other guys, you know. So
It would be
even
lovely.
though
It would be lovely if we could do that as a feature.
yeah,
I would agree.
yeah.
Do you think there was any answer to Charlie's pace regardless of the safety car?
No, not really. Like he was monumental in the race. Like I had him in qualifying by like 0.05, I think, but yeah, in the race he was quick, and me and Singy would never catch him because we are too competitive to each other because we want to both win the championship. So both are fighting hard, and yeah, it wouldn't be beneficial for both of us just to fight, and we would probably lose 2 or 1 second per lap to Charlie. So yeah, I didn't see the point if to not pit when I did. So yeah.
Fair enough. Well said. Thank you very much. Really good pole position, and hopefully it goes well for you next time. Thank you, Sulkin. And we move on to Charlie. Charlie, well, how about that? Just absolutely lovely stuff. It got a little bit, I don't want to swear, something the bed moment where you almost lost it all with the safety car at the end, but just a mega restart. You managed to make it work very well. That hard tyre at the final stage, though, were you confident that that would be the best tyre over the soft?
I've got a big grin on my face. To be honest, I thought probably the medium was the best because of, you know, it was probably it had the most pace for the last 2 laps. The soft was gonna just fall off after the first lap, honestly, after pushing. Like, it was already, even in qualifying where the tires actually in qualifying have less wear, it was actually already noticeable even on the in lap that the tire was already like falling off. So yeah, thankfully everyone had the harder allocation for the race. And yeah, the hard was just good. I managed to switch it on very quickly somehow. Had a very good restart, and yeah, just from there I was just praying that I could pull the 3 seconds to the guys behind, and thankfully that happened. So yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect in the end. I mean, was there any point with the strategy you were worried that you were going to lose this race? And actually, before the safety car happened, were you just trying to back off and save the tyres a bit, or were the cars behind you genuinely catching?
Oh, definitely. In the last stint at the end, they were actually catching. There was a moment where I made a mistake in the last sector. I don't know if that affected the tires that much, but like after that, the like Igor and Zingy were steadily catching and for like 1 or 2 laps, and then the pace was pretty much equal again. But yeah, I don't know. Like little mistakes on this track are really costly apparently. So
Yeah, it seems so, but it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. Well done for managing to combat the difficult safety car at the end, and congratulations, you have once again won in LSI. Well done.
yeah, thanks.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, that was a race just full of action everywhere. You were right in the middle of it the entire time. Can you take us through it? Because there were battles going on in front, behind, defense, attack. Yeah, I don't know really where to go with this. If you're here, that is.
Oh yeah,
There you
I
go.
mean, yeah. I mean, immediately after quali ended, I was already like, this is gonna be great again because I was fully off, and I think even just pure pace. If everybody was to push, I would have just been 8th, pure pace wise. But yeah, I mean, I had a really good opening stint. I think I overtook 4 cars over the course of 4 laps. And then I was behind Zingy and Salkun, who decided that they wanted to fight for P2 instead of P1. So we lost Charlie really quickly. And then, yeah, after a while they settled, and then we kind of pulled away from a few people. So the DRS train got smaller, we pitted, and then we were just pushing. I was just pushing at the front a little bit, just not ruining my tires, but I was just, keeping pace, trying to see if a safety car comes out. Didn't happen. Igor overtakes me, Zingy overtakes me immediately as well, because my battery was, maybe my battery management could be better, but I feel like my pace would have just been not too great if I didn't do that. So after a while, I just followed them for the whole race and just managing tires, managing pace, seeing if there's an opportunity to do something. And it was looking like a steady P4 up until the safety car, which I've been praying for all season when I have raced. And the moment it comes out, it is negatively impacting me because I have a 3 second. Again, 3 second is fully my fault. Shouldn't get that. I did have it. So it's unlucky within reason, because I shouldn't get the 3 second, especially with the race that we were having with the DRS trains. And yeah, then I was just pushing on the hards, and I feel like I had a really, really good safety car, like last 2 laps basically on the hard, which in my opinion was probably worse than the soft for those 2 laps, even though it's kind of debatable. But yeah, I had some good battles, got P2 on track, but got the 3 seconds, so P5 in the end. I would lie if I wouldn't say I was disappointed, because I think I am with the race that I had, because this is the first time in a long while where I have come out of a race not wanting to throw myself out my window. But yeah, so P5 doesn't do it justice with the race I had, but I really had fun, which is the first time in a long while I had that. So I'm happy in that regard.
That's very good to hear. I'm very glad to hear that, and you can safely open your window without any risk of falling out of it tonight. Well done. I do have to ask the obvious question though. If the battling didn't happen at the beginning, do you think Charlie was in reach?
I think Charlie had really good pace. I do think it's very hard to pull away here. So if Ziggy and Salgo were working together without the ego, I think we would have stayed with him.
Thank you very much, Nifo. Well done today, and we'll see you next time. And we move on finally to Zingy. Zingy, that was a tough one, and the safety car restart did not go to plan, but you did have some very good pace. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, I mean, I qualified well considering how much I've been struggling qualifying this year, and then into the race. Obviously, I want to get ahead of Salkin, and if that means losing DRS, that's what's going to happen. And unfortunately, that was the case. I know what my intentions are with that, and I just need to do it because that's what it feels right. Then I got double stacked in the first stint, lost about 2 positions, which already compromised my race to an extent, because I was stuck behind Igor, who didn't want to work together for whatever reason. That man just defended for his life, and then, Salkin's behind us 9 seconds, and we were sitting there battling instead of, you know, trying to DRS stream, which is what I was trying to do. But if you couldn't see that, that's his problem, not mine. And then the safety car comes out, I get held in the pit lane again, almost get jumped by Neffel, and then Igor again messes me up by just losing the rear end and hitting me, and Sulkin gains 2 points because of a safety car that was caused by a frontline loss. So, you tell me.
Yep. It's a tough one, and I will be honest, I'm super surprised that the safety car actually came out. I think that is a very unlucky situation. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, I asked something quickly.
Go for it.
What is the safety car on? Like, is it standard, reduced, or increased?
Reduced. Pretty certain
Wow.
it's been reduced
Wow.
for years. So yeah, it is very unfortunate, and I do apologise for that. Unfortunately, that is the way the game goes sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't deploy it, sometimes it does. And unfortunately, you're on the bad end of it. And yeah, I'm sorry for that. You gave us a very good show, some good racing. Thank you very much today. And I can't wait for the next one. I'm sure it's going to be good. Thank you very much.
I can wait.
And we move on to the end of the stream. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. Have a good one. Bye-bye.